secure it. Make sure it's tight. Then you're going to work your way up, over, and around the knee, working your way to the outside of the body. Now, as you get above the knee, you want to be pinning this tendon here at the very end. At the top, you want to tuck the material underneath. Welcome to Squat Rex. We have a little bit of material. Today we're going to talk about wraps, belts, and suits. A good knee wrap will definitely add pounds to your squat. Depending on your needs and on if you are going to power lift, you'll decide on the length of the wrap that you need. Powerlifting wraps made specifically for powerlifting, usually are no more than 2 meters in length. The purpose behind the wrap is to add as much support and area to your knee as possible. In effect, you're making the joint bigger and more durable. If you have a powerlifting wrap, it's going to be 2 meters in length, but you'll be able to stretch it much, much longer. You want to stretch it as far as possible as you are putting the knee wrap on. If you don't, it will not be giving you the support that you are expecting. Because the material stretches a great deal, if you aren't pulling it tight as you wrap your knee, what's going to happen as you sink into the hole is the material is going to stretch. It's just not going to give you very much support. So it's critical that if you are looking for a lot of support and you are using a powerlifting wrap that stretches a great deal, that when you put it on, you stretch it tight as you do so. I'm going to show you how to stretch and use the powerlifting wrap on your knee. You're going to start below the knee, the kneecap. You're going to stretch it tight, and then you're going to wrap it around. Now, as you wrap it, you want to be coming about half the width of the wrap as you go up and around, all the way through. You're going to come up above the kneecap, and as we finish this wrap, we're going to try to bring it to the front and tuck it in underneath the wrap. To the top. Now we want this excess wrap coming up to the top of our knee if we are doing powerlifting, because we want to give the illusion that the top of our knee is higher than it really is. A couple things you want to be careful of when you are wrapping the knees. You want to make sure that the excess material is not bunching up right behind the kneecap. If it does that, it's going to put a lot of pressure onto your knee and can cause some problems. Make sure you check with the doctor before you wrap your knees. They might give you suggestions on how to wrap. You'll see a lot of different kinds of wrapping. You'll see crisscross styles. This seems to be the most secure position for me when I wrap. Another common piece of equipment that you'll see people using are wrist wraps. Most of the things that I said about the knee wraps apply to the wrist wraps as well. This particular brand is again, Inzer. There are great wraps from other people as well. It has a thumb loop, which will kind of help you get proper, help you put this on securely. But you're going to wrap it, in this case, you're going to wrapping it to the inside of your palm and then wrapping it around and securing it. Same things apply. You don't want a lot of give with the material, so you want it to be pretty tight. Until you get used to that, you're going to feel like you're not going to be able to feel your fingers. So it is pretty important that you get used to the wrist wrap. But it should be holding your wrist in a very, very secure position. You're going to see a lot of different lengths of wrist wraps. Some of them are quite short. If it's too short, you're really going to be limited in how much support you can give your wrist. My recommendation would be is if you are confused about which length to get a longer length and then wrap it a little more loosely if you feel like you need less support. That way, if you wanted to, you could always tighten it down. If you get something that's too short, you really have nowhere to go. The same thing happens here on the other side. Notice that in this case, I'm now wrapping to the outside of the wrist, which is a bit confusing. If this really bothers you, that you are wrapping in opposite directions with this particular brand, what you can do is, instead of using the thumb loop, is you can just start here at the pinky and then wrap it around like such. And that really shouldn't affect it too much either way. Voila. The most common piece of equipment you'll see squatters using is a belt. You'll see this kind of belt commonly in gyms. It's a belt you can pick up just about anywhere. It's a very thin piece of leather that will have one or two prongs here. Usually it's going to be tapered to the ends, and it's going to have a wider base for your back. The width is going to be negligible, and as you put this on, you will feel this one's a bit small, but as you put it on, you are going to feel a little bit of intra-abdominal pressure that's going to help you maintain pressure throughout your squat. A belt like this will stretch out pretty quickly and really will offer minimal support. If you are serious about squatting heavy weights, if you're interested in powerlifting, you probably would end up purchasing a belt like this. Powerlifting belts typically are going to be 10 millimeters or 10 or 13 millimeters in width. And they're going to be either single or double pronged, and you might even actually have what's called a lever belt as well. The advantage of the two prong over the single prong is that there's a little bit of up and down security of motion that you wouldn't have in the single prong. It's going to prevent, the double prong is going to prevent the belt from twisting a little bit on your body. However, the single prong would be a lot easier to put on. The lever belt would be the easiest to put on, but it's harder to adjust on your body. There is some controversy over the use of belts. Paul Chek, who is an amazing thinker when it comes to weight training, says that the belts will can actually cause you lumbar injury. I might be misrepresenting him here, but I believe his argument was that as you use the belt, if you're trying to maintain a very tight arch throughout the range of motion, because you'll notice that at the top, this belt's a little bit tight on me, because the belt is flat, as I arch, up here at the top of the belt, there's going to be not much pressure, but at the bottom of the belt, it's going to be pushing down on the bottom of my spine. In effect, it could be exacerbating that lower back rounding. When using a belt to squat or deadlift, there are a couple things you want to remember. Number one, you want the belt to be tight. If it's not tight, it's not going to be helping you increase and maintain good intra-abdominal pressure throughout your lift. Number two, if the belt is too tight, it's not going to really allow you to engage your abdominal muscles. By having it a little bit loose, you are able to, in Louis Simmons' words, push against the belt with your stomach. Again, you want to ready your stomach as if you are preparing for a blow. So as you flex the abs, you want to, in effect, be almost pushing against the belt. The belt can help you learn this pressure.